Liveline on RTE Radio 1, sponsored by Skoda. We may not be made here, but everything about a Skoda is made for Ireland. Visit skoda.ie.
Let me bring in Eamon Jackson, who's contacted us, also known as Eamon Mulvaney. Eamon, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Joe.
You're a country and western singer, I'm told. Why it was your manager, I think, who contacted us. What's the problem, Eamon?
Yeah, well, first of all, you see, there was a panorama programme took place on the dog breeding establishment in County Cavan here, and seeing that I'm in the country music scene and have a profile picture and in the limelight, everybody thought that it was my premises, and which had nothing got to do with myself or my family. Joe.
So you're a country western singer, but you also run a dog breeding establishment, is it?
I did, and I deregistered in late 2016. I have nothing to do with it now anymore.
So you say your complaint is there's a campaign against you. What is the nature of this campaign?
The nature of this campaign is probably to get all dog breeding establishments closed down in Ireland or whatever.
No. What is it? No, what is the campaign against you?
The campaign against me is because what they're saying is Eamon Jackson is a so-called puppy farmer, and to not have him in your venues, and I have nothing got to do with it anymore.
And what effect has this campaign had on you?
Gigs cancelled on me, Joe.
Or many gigs?
Nearly all around Ireland. I had a whole UK tour done, and it was all cancelled. I spent a lot of money on advertising it, and the campaign took place over there, and social media, they started sending in texts to the venues, and it destroyed me.
And you are destroyed?
I am destroyed, yeah, and my band too, like my band has families and the support, and I have 10 of about 8 of a crew, and I'm distressed over the whole thing.
And have you gigs coming up to Christmas?
I have a few gigs coming up to Christmas, all right, but not what it should be.
And again, you say there's people texting you or tweeting about you, Eamon?
No, they were actually going onto the venues social media page, and they're putting in complaints that we're going to boycott your venue if you hire Eamon Jackson in to play in his venue. As soon as I put up my nose to advertise my venues, these people are going in and saying terrible things, like more or less, I hope he swallows his tongue and chokes his tongue, bury him alive, and he should be burnt alive, and sexual things like I couldn't even pronounce on the radio.
But if you're saying there's someone saying, sure, that's a death threat, have you gone to the Gardaí about that?
Yeah, I've got death threats on the post here too.
And what have you done? Yeah.
I've gone to the Gardaí and it's ongoing with them at the minute,
And what is the story with the puppy farm? You say you've no involvement with. Is it?
No, I've no involvement with the dog. It's a dog breeding establishment, Joe, and I have no involvement from late 2016 on the establishment. It's a family-run business. My father is running it there at the minute, and always did for a lifetime, and looked after his animals very well, and so did I, and never any welfare issues on our premises, and all is done to the highest degree. We have several people working.
And when
every day.
If a venue goes to cancel your gigs, which you say is happening or not, that your career is destroyed because of this campaign, and I'm looking at your YouTube videos. You had a big career. Did the venue not ring you and say, Eamon, or your manager say, what's the story here?
No, what's happening is the venue's coming back and saying that we have no other choice only to cancel you because we're being harassed with all this campaign, and they're saying that they're going to boycott the premises and they're going to protest outside the premises, and they're saying that you'll be serving Eamon Jackson's dogs on your menu.
Okay, Michelle Strauss. Michelle, good afternoon.
Hi, Joe.
I'm told you're affiliated with Pups Not Profit. Would you be a no of this campaign against Eamon Jackson?
Well, I'm aware of the ill feeling against him, but I know that people have contacted venues to ask that they don't host him because they have concerns about the conditions in the dog breeding establishment when he was running it.
And what's his country and western singing got to do with the dogs?
Well, when Eamon Jackson's farm was inspected by the ISPCA and 2 councils...
No, I know that. I'm not talking about the farm. What is the connection between the puppy farm issues and this man making a livelihood singing? And he now says his career is destroyed.
Okay. I guess there's 2 points to that. The first is Mr. Jackson describes this as a family-run business, and he's been asked if he is still effectively making his livelihood out of the puppy farm, and he's never answered those questions. And if it's a family-run business and he lives in the property that's linked to the puppy farm, as far as we're aware, he is profiting from the puppy farm. Now, that money, as far as we understand, is also going towards funding his music career. And so there's a link between the puppy farm and the music career. But additionally, Mr. Jackson also likes to put himself in the public spotlight, and what famous people choose to do in their private time does become a matter of issue for the public. He can't have it both ways. If he wants to be a public figure and he wants to be involved with puppy farms, then he needs to put up with the negative publicity that results. I think there's also a few inaccuracies there, because Mr. Jackson says that the farm was fine. There were a number of serious issues raised about the welfare of those dogs, and I think that's really what people were concerned about. And at no point has he expressed any contrition or any regret about what was found on that farm. And I think that's what really sticks in our throat. He's continually denied that these things happened, but there are inspection reports showing that these dogs were not kept in particularly good accommodation.
Is that true, Eamon?
No. Hello, Michelle.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, no, there was never any welfare on our premises. And
no. I just really need to step in here. Mr. Jackson, when he was on the register, had a license for 180 breeding females. When the ISPCA and the councils went in, there were 460 breeding females found on that premises. There were concerns about the accommodation. There wasn't sufficient shelter for those dogs, and those dogs were not being exercised regularly. I mean, those are fundamental things that go to the welfare of an animal. So to say that there were no issues is just not true.
Yeah, hold on, Michelle. Can I just stop you there now? You said that there was 400 dogs on the premises.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, well, there was up on 100 breeding bitches, which we've had a license for. All male dogs are exempt from the bill, and all hunt dogs was exempt.
Okay, Eamon, I'm not going to go into puppy farm. We've done that before, but Eamon, hang on. You contact us, say your career is destroyed by this campaign. You're asking them to desist. You're saying you're no longer involved in the puppy farm. Is that correct?
That's right. Yes.
Did you ever have occasion to apologise for what went on in the puppy farm when you were involved?
No, because we were doing nothing wrong, Joe.
And
why were 15 improvement notices issued? If nothing was wrong, you wouldn't have been taken to court.
Because that was the story when the new bill came out. There was amendments to be done.
I mean, there was no new bill.
But Michelle, is it not fair to say your campaign is against the puppy farm?
Yeah,
it's not against Eamon Jackson's singing, is it?
Oh, I haven't been campaigning against Eamon Jackson's singing, but all I'm saying is that I think
did you say you knew of people who were ringing the venues? Are you aware of that?
I'm aware it happened. Who
put up the fake pictures of dogs in a very bad state on my profile and saying that this was Eamon Jackson's trying to ruin my career?
No idea, Eamon.
I know. Well, is that not unfair?
Eamon, I think if they're misrepresenting what happened on your farm, that is unfair. But what we have is an inspection notice that says that dogs didn't have shelter and that the premises were overcrowded. And I have the inspection notice in front of me. And
what's the situation now? Do you know, Michelle?
I don't know.
But are people still campaigning against you, Eamon Jackson? Even though you say you have nothing to do with it anymore.
I have nothing to do with it. No, they're campaigning again my music career.
Eamon, can you just answer me this? If it's a family business and you are living in the property that's linked to the puppy farm, are you benefiting in any way, sort of monetary way, from that farm? How are you making a living?
Definitely not.
Okay, so if your singing career is destroyed, how are you surviving day to day?
Because I still have an odd gig in that's people standing on the ground and not cancelling my gigs, and I have a very good partner which is looking after me too, and I took sick in the middle of the whole thing. I was in hospital for 2 weeks. I was very ill, and it's brought an awful lot of stress to my whole family. Right. And all I ever wanted to do in life is to carry through my music industry. It's all I ever dreamed of.
And you say, Eamon, is your livelihood destroyed? You said your career is destroyed.
Well, obviously, paper doesn't refuse ink, Joe. Like, the people.
No, I'm
people
asking.
commenting about me on social media and saying that I'm such a
but
bad person that never even met me before in their lives.
Okay, but you're saying your livelihood is destroyed, your career.
My career, yeah, well, it is destroyed. Yeah, my music career is destroyed.
Okay, Linda Martin is a musician and indeed animal rights activist. Linda, good afternoon.
Hello, Joe. How are you?
Have you've been involved in this campaign?
Absolutely. Animal welfare, big on my agenda,
Yeah.
and I've been involved in this particular campaign for it must be over a year now. But I have to say, I never heard of Eamon Jackson until the puppy farm issue came up. So Eamon's talking about a career. I don't know anything
as
about
a singer,
his career.
yeah.
And I'm not interested in his career. All I'm interested in is the welfare of the animals that these puppy farmers have in their premises.
And do you agree with the campaign, which is apparently ringing venues where he's going to perform, or tweeting them, or texting them, or Facebooking them, or whatever, and saying, don't have this man on your stage because of his puppy farm allegations?
Well, I have to say that people are free to make whatever phone calls or whatever they want to do. I haven't run any venue. I haven't made any allegations against Eamon Jackson because, like I say, I'm not interested in his career. I'm only interested in that welfare. And the welfare of these animals is appalling, really, really appalling. If people saw the BBC programme that went out last year, that was another puppy farm.
Well, but Eamon says that's not his puppy farm. Everyone thought it was.
That's not his. No, it's not. It's another person's puppy farm. But I can't figure out how these people survive. They make millions. We've between 30 and 40,000 Irish puppies going to Britain and Europe every year. The money that's being made off the back of this inbreeding of these animals
and
is
Linda,
just tremendous.
do you agree with the strategy which, as Michelle outlined there, that Eamon Jackson is a country and western singer. He performs publicly, and there's an allegation about his involvement, which he denies, an involvement in a puppy farm. Do you agree with the strategy which says, okay, let's ring the venues where he's performing and try and get him deselected?
I'll just let people make their own decisions.
What do you think of that strategy?
Like I said, if people want to ring venues and object, we are all entitled to our opinion, Joe. And if the people want to do that, well, then I'm happy with it. I personally have not done it.
But you wouldn't ask people to desist, fellow animal lovers?
No. We have to protest. Like we protest about everything in this country. We have to protest. Our government isn't doing anything about the animal welfare, except for people like Maureen O'Sullivan and Claire Daly and a few other politicians. But we've got to come up. That we've got to bring the level.
And once I know you say that you never heard of Eamon Jackson, but
I haven't.
That's fair enough. But Linda, does he not have a right to try and make a career as a singer?
Yeah, but isn't it funny? I sort of wonder about that. He's just made a statement, said he's no longer involved in that puppy farm. I'm going to challenge him on that.
Well, go ahead.
Because he's there on the premises with the family. His father breeds hunting dogs. I know that as well. So does he suddenly think, oh, well, I'm not going to accept all those millions of euros for the animals that I bred? Am I just going to give all of that up and walk away and try to make a living as a country singer? We're not talking Daniel O'Donnell here now. It's a very, very difficult profession to get into and make a living from. And if he's trying to tell me he's going to make a living from country music, I'll challenge that as well.
So, Eamon, Linda doesn't believe you when you say your livelihood is destroyed because she doesn't believe it is your livelihood. Country and western singer.
First of all, Linda, I was always a very big fan of yours too, from a very young age. I used to be always listening to you on the radio. But no, I have no involvement whatsoever. So what's the difference if I had a brother or a sister or whatever involved in drugs and they lived in the same housing estate as me? Like, at the end of the day, I still have to visit my parents. I go up. I have Christmas dinner. Like, am I supposed to just leave the world, or what am I supposed to do?
Well, Eamon, are you financially benefiting from the farm?
No, definitely not.
Are you indirectly benefiting by being on the premises rent free?
Definitely not.
So you do pay.
You
either own the house or rent the house that you're living on the farm.
I have my own house here with a mortgage on it.
Okay. Linda,
Eamon, Eamon, you're wasting your breath with those arguments against somebody like me because I'm too involved in it and I know too much of what's going on in the background.
But Linda,
so
I have no involvement with it at all. So why are you targeting me? Like, why are people targeting me?
Eamon Jackson, just let me finish. As I'd say to any puppy farmer face-to-face or anybody with animal welfare allegations against them,
but Linda, before you go any further, it's not a puppy farmer.
And look after the animals the way animals should be treated, not in luxury, but with a little bit of respect. Bring in veterinary surgeons who are going to look after them, pay them to look after them, and don't keep dogs in the situations where puppy farmers are keeping the dogs. Would you like to live in a little box? Because I certainly wouldn't. They're not socialized. They are interbred, so much so that they've got severe bone structure problems.
Okay, but I know, but I take that. It's awful, Linda. But this man is pro. Well, hang on. Do you know what way they're living? I thought you were saying you've nothing to do with the puppy farm. Eamon.
Sorry?
You're saying you're telling me you've nothing to do with the puppy farm.
I have nothing to do with the puppy farm, but beforehand I had, and they were never living in little boxes. They were all in good kennels with heated pads, infrared bulbs, and there was never any welfare issues. Never anything like that at all. It was always inspected by
there is an inspection report I have here. Eamon Mulvaney, Red Hills County Cavan. Is that you?
Yeah.
Or is your father called Eamon as well?
No, that's me.
And they say there is a degree of overcrowding in the large pens. The pens were exposed and did not contain separate refuge or lying areas. Most pens did not have a separate area for sleeping and shelter, and the whelping pens lacked ventilation, and a number of pens did not have separate accommodation for puppies. Now, in fairness, they do say, in general, the dogs observed, I'm putting this to you, Linda, this is the inspector's report, in general, the dogs observed were healthy and alert, in good body condition, and were approachable and socially interactive.
Okay, that's what it says on the report, Joe. I would have liked to have been there when that report was being done.
No, well, the report is done. What do you think of it? On the one hand, on the other hand.
There's elements there that could ring true. I'm sure the dogs do get fed, but I'm talking about the socialization, where they're kept, the lack of veterinary supervision. That's what I'm talking about. It's just interbreeding time after time. Little females, they're bred.
Apparently, there was four. Also, Linda, there was 4 inspections over 3 months, because obviously there's been a lot of publicity about these establishments. 4 inspections over 3 months, showing steady improvement.
I'm glad to hear that.
But you don't think that business should exist at all?
No, I don't. I don't think there should be puppy
Bob
farms.
Condon.
Let me also.
Okay, of course, Linda.
I actually don't have anything against anybody breeding animals on the proper basis. It's just the sheer numbers. And let me ask you something else. I've got 14 dogs. You know I'm mad about dogs. I own 14 dogs here, and I know what's involved cleaning up the poo behind them. So, where do the puppy farmers? How do they deal with 300 dogs pooping and doing their wee-wees? What do they do with it? Now, to my knowledge, all of that excrement is spread on the land. That's against the law. That's against the environmental rules.
Does that happen on the farm from your previous knowledge, Eamon?
No.
Okay.
Oh, well, Eamon, answer me that then. Where do you dispose of the dog poo and urine?
As I said, Linda, I have no longer any involvement with.
But you were in it for many years. You were for many years. So tell me, what did you do to dispose of it?
Sorry?
Where did you dispose of all of that poo?
Yeah, it goes to cottage protein.
It goes to what?
Cottage protein.
And what is that? Explain that to me.
I can't hear with the dogs in the background, Linda. I can't hear. You're breaking up.
No, cottage. It goes to cottage protein. Is that a company?
Cottage protein.
And what is that?
Sorry?
What is that?
It's a recycling place. I'm not sure the whole ins and outs. I'm not sure the whole ins and outs of it now. As I say, I have no longer any involvement.
But you were involved.
All I am doing
you were for
is
many
concentrating
years
on my country music, try and move forward and pursue my career.
But
Okay.
I'm saying to you that you were involved in it for many, many years. Now, what we've been told is the puppy farmers spread all of that poo on the land. And let me tell you something else. If that's land where crops are grown or vegetables are grown, then our supermarkets
Okay,
are
but
buying it.
that's illegal. Okay, stay with us. Back after this break.
Joe Duffy.
Talk to Joe on 1850 715 815.
Bob Condon is manager of Eamon Jackson. Bob, good afternoon.
Hello, Joe. How are you keeping?
Good, thanks. And what are you aware about this campaign of, Bob?
Before I got involved with Eamon, which I've only in the last 2 months, I did a fair bit of research and to satisfy my own head before I got involved in taking on a new act. I had heard about problems and that Eamon was being cancelled and that he was being demonised by people on Facebook. So I was very happy to meet him and went through a few questions that I had to ask him. And I find the chap to be a gentleman and a very gentle type of chap.
Well, as his manager, Bob, do you agree with him when he said his career is destroyed?
Well, it's not destroyed, but it's heading that way unless there's brakes put on to these people that are trying to destroy him. He has a fantastic voice. He has great recordings. He's currently in recording a new album, and he's focused totally on his music. And I think a lot of these people that are up against Eamon don't know the full facts, and I think their hearts are in the right place, but they're directing their anger at the wrong person. They should be lobbying the politicians and people, the Department of Environment and the Department of Agriculture. I think it's the Department of the Environment that actually regulates the dog breeding business.
Okay, so you're investigated, you're happy, and you think his career is on its way down. It's on its way to being
I'm
destroyed.
trying to rectify a lot of harm that has been done and directed towards Eamon. A lot of cruel comments and hateful comments that I think is so unfair.
So Linda, what about cruelty to Eamon?
What about cruelty to Eamon? Eamon can look after himself, Joe.
Well, his career. There's his manager and himself saying his career is in tatters.
Well, like I said, I'm not interested in his career. I'm only interested in the art. But here's another little point, Joe. By law in this country, everybody who owns a dog has to have a microchip and a license.
Mm-hmm.
None of those puppy farmers have one license or one microchip in any of the thousands and thousands of dogs. There's
So who enforces that, Linda? Surely there's if it's mandatory, it has to be enforced and policed.
Exactly, and it's not, Joe. So there's another point that they don't do. Look, the bottom line is, if you're going to breed dogs, you must do it to a certain standard. Okay. You must look after the dogs. There mustn't be interbreeding, because it's like people. If you breed brother and sister,
I know.
Okay,
let me bring Michael.
Standards.
Michael, good afternoon.
Hello, Joe. How are you doing?
You're listening to the debate. Go ahead, Michael.
I am listening. I'm a bit annoyed with Linda Martin, to tell you the truth.
Why?
And because there was very condescending towards Eamon for a start, saying that she never heard of him or knows nothing about him. And I can tell you that Eamon Jackson is very popular down around this area. Now, he doesn't know me, and he never met me. And I'm from County Monaghan, and he's from County Cavan.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that all the inspections were done on that place since all this happened. And the council and everybody was very happy to let the farm continue in its present state. But they were quite happy with the way things were being run. There may have been a problem a few years ago. But what's happened to Eamon Jackson is very, very unfair. He's a very good country singer, and he puts on a great show. And he'd be well worthy of the Eurovision. You know,
what do you think of the campaign that's now linked?
I think the campaign is disgraceful, and these people have little to be doing. They can round venues and standing outside venues. They have little to be doing if that's all they have to be at. I'm a dog lover myself. I won at Crufts in 1996, and I bred dogs, so I did. All my life. I don't do it anymore, but I did do it. And I showed dogs, and I looked after my dogs. I loved my dogs. Just as much as Linda loved her dogs.
There's the bottom line. You looked after your dogs.
Yes, I looked after my dogs.
I'm delighted you were so successful in Crufts. But the bottom line is you looked after your dogs. These poor little creatures are bred until they're useless to anybody, and then they're disposed of. The way they're treated is absolutely appalling. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Well,
but
why then is if the tests were all done, the council went into this puppy farm, the Department of the Environment went in, they signed off on it, that everything was above board, the numbers of dogs that are in are correct, the hunting dogs, the male dogs, the female dogs.
Inspections. No, let me finish.
Pardon?
Those initial inspections, Eamon didn't have a license to have all of those hundreds of dogs.
You're talking about in the past, Linda. I'm talking about now. You're talking about in the past. Everybody makes mistakes and everybody should get an opportunity to move on.
Everybody should. But
yes, of course they should.
Do you know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see Eamon's bank accounts.
Well, I have no interest in Eamon's bank accounts because that's his own business. The same as your bank account is your business. I don't know what you want to see his bank account for.
Of breeding those poor animals.
See, that's what's wrong with people like you. You want to see his bank account. It's none of your business what's in Eamon Jackson's bank account.
I'm being
hard
facetious
for whatever is in his
I'm
bank
being
account.
facetious. Now let me tell you something else.
But you're not being very nice to Eamon Jackson, so you're not. And you
I don't care
on
about
the radio.
Eamon Jackson.
Well, there you go. You see, you don't care about him. Like, I mean, you're saying it yourself. You don't care about him. You're saying
I don't care about him. I'm only interested
people are
in
here
the animals.
You don't care about him.
And he has flaunted every law, and he still has improvement notices with him. He still has them. Things are definitely
Eamon Jackson has nothing got to do with the puppy farm at this moment. Eamon Jackson doesn't know me from Adam. He never met me or nothing, but I think he's been very unfairly treated, and that's why I came on the radio.
Not that to
do a good favour for Eamon Jackson, just the way he's been treated. And the way you have been so condescending towards Eamon Jackson.
And Linda,
I only told the truth.
You didn't tell the truth. You said you never heard of him,
I've
you knew nothing about him. Eamon Jackson is a big star, and he's going to be a big star. So
he's not a big star. Now, let's
he is
be
a big
honest.
star. Well, I'll tell you, you want to get the Thunderworld
until the puppy farms. Never heard of him until this.
You're long gone out of the music business now. You probably wouldn't know anything about it.
And Linda, Eamon says unless this campaign ends, his career has ended. What will end the campaign? Is it when the puppy farm closes?
No, when the standards come up, everybody's entitled to make a living.
Yeah, but
standards have been signed off on. The standards have been signed off on. Everybody is happy except you and your cronies and the people that's come round that has nothing better to do than stand outside venues and protest and insult a man that's trying to make
You've actually already said that. Then open the gate. Then open your gate. And let us all go up with cameras.
Well, there is inspectors did go in. I'm reading now. They did find problems, but they also found improvements, and they 4 inspections, 3 months showing steady improvement. But Linda, you were against puppy farms, full stop.
Absolutely.
Okay,
and why do the puppies have to be smuggled out? Why isn't everything
so you're saying,
open and above board?
Linda, is it fair to surmise that the campaign won't stop as long as that puppy farm is there?
We have to lobby our government even more than what we're doing.
But it's not Leo Varadkar that's going to lose his livelihood. It's Eamon Jackson. He's saying, why me? Why have you picked on him?
Well,
he's nothing to do with it.
Joe, let me tell you something. If he doesn't have to sing tomorrow, he can live up all the money he made from the years of breeding those poor animals.
Is that true, Eamon Jackson?
Definitely not, because any money that we made, we always put it back into the industry.
Okay.
Oh, right. Okay. Fair enough.
Leave it at that. Thanks.
By the way, Linda, all the dogs is microchipped. Every dog is microchipped.
Linda, wrong again. Wrong again, Linda.
And veterinary checked.
Yes, okay. You believe that, Eamon. That's fine.
But what are you accusing him of being a liar, Linda? He's telling you all the dogs are microchipped.
I would love to have proof of that.
The man has just told you.
I'd still like to see proof of it. Talk is cheap.
Go to Cavan County Council and you get proof of it.
We've made inquiries, Linda, before the programme started, and that's our understanding. All the dogs are microchipped.
Okay. That's fine. That's another little step up the ladder. That's fine. I'm glad to hear that.
Well, is that the end of a campaign against his country and western singing?
Joe, I don't care about his country and western singing.
This is his livelihood. That's why he contacted us.
I'm only interested in bringing the standards of those dogs up to some sort of level where it's acceptable to the public.
When will you let Eamon? When will you let Eamon Jackson sing again?
I don't care when he sings again, Joe, to be honest.
Well, then
with
why
you.
are people ringing the venue saying making allegations?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know why they are. People are entitled to protest and make allegations as they want. It's a free country. It's a democratic country. We're entitled to. Okay. I don't do it. I've no intentions of doing it, but I'm not interested in his
But you
career.
understand why people do it, you told me.
Yes, I do.
Okay,
I do.
Okay, Eamon Jackson, thanks indeed. Linda Martin, thanks indeed. Two singers, as well as animal and being involved with animals. Michelle Strauss and Michael 51, and Bob as well. 51551.